It's the new year, and we are hoping you thrive. And to help us do that, we have Mark Rabinowitz in from Thrive Group. Thanks, Mark, for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Happy New Year.
And likewise.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about Thrive Group. It's not a typical club that people go to at meetings and those kinds of things. Tell us what you're all about and what the focus is.
Thrive has been around for, I've lost track of how many years now, a long time. And what Thrive does is, as you mentioned, we don't have a club, we don't have meetings, but we just put out information for folks. So if you're having a bad day today and it's like, oh my God, where am I going to go today? What am I going to do? How do I get this straightened out? We try to plant little seeds along the way over the course of the year to help you discover how to get out of that funk you're in.
Right.
And move on to better places. And that's basically what we do.
Now, in the past, you've had like ice cream socials with Memorial Care and Saddleback Medical Center, and they've kind of like got folks together and talk about like ways to do that, just what you're talking about, right?
Yes. And it's also a wonderful way to make new friends.
Right.
Yeah.
How important is community when we're talking about this kind of thing to get people out of their funk?
I think community is very important. And why do I say that? Well, if you can do something for someone else, it helps you to forget about your problems and maybe not necessarily forget, but it lessens.
Right. You have more perspective, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A good word. Yes. Sometimes if and we all do this, you get too involved with yourself. It's, oh my gosh, oh my God. But if you start helping other folks, it just lessens certain situations. My thoughts.
No, absolutely, it makes sense. And one of the things Thrive does is right here on Village Television, we see things like this up on the screen sometime.
Yes.
You know, and so you know what you're going through right now, literally everyone, right?
Yep.
Those guys. So is that a way for help to get that inspiration going?
It's the seed that we're planting into people's eyeballs. Yeah, and hopefully into their brains.
All right, here's another one. Now, you've taken some of these photos yourself, right?
I'm the one who puts all these things together every month. So yeah, and some of these photographs are mine.
Okay. Now, one of the ways you thrive, I think, is through photography. I want to show a couple slides from the Village Breeze. Here we go. So we got the squirrel there.
Yeah.
And then I think the next month or so you had that turtle on the cover as well.
Yeah.
And then you take all sorts of nature and photography, and you've also contributed many times to our show with your pictures that we put on our sunrise sunset segment. I think, and with along with Trading Post, I think you're on television a little bit more than I am.
I won't go into that. But yeah.
So it's the new year, and so a lot of people want to do a reset, right? It's a resolution time. It's time to I'm going to get back to the gym. I'm going to do whatever it is. So is this a good time to have that reassessment for folks?
I would say it is if you want to adhere to what it is you're trying to do. To me, any time is a good time to start making changes. Again, speaking personally. But if I tell myself I'm going to do something, I do it. And thus it becomes actuality instead of fantasy.
What are some of the ways people could be more realistic when they're starting to set goals for themselves? Something truly achievable, or don't set it so high that it's just an impossible hill to climb.
Yeah.
Right?
I think if people, again, everything I'm saying today, folks, is my own thoughts. So
neither of us are wearing lab coats. We're not clinical doctors.
I am not a doctor, so it's all thought. If people know what their limits are, their parameters, they can better assess how much they want to take a step over a line that they have drawn for themselves. Sometimes we've all done it, is we set a goal for ourselves that's way higher than achievable. I always set little lower goals, take one step forward at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I've always lived my life.
And sometimes it's just getting out of bed and making the bed.
That's right.
You know, it's just it's a little teeny victories you can give yourself.
Yes.
That can maybe set the tone for other little steps as well.
Yeah. Oh, I'll do it later.
Mm-hmm.
No, we won't. Do it now, and it's done, and then you move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so, is there a chance, like every day, maybe to do another thing, like reach out to somebody? Like I've been meaning to make this phone call. Maybe set that as a goal. I'm going to reach out to a family member. Say I'm going to reach out to a friend I haven't talked to. I've been meaning to, and like you said, put it off. I keep putting it off.
Yes. Carol and I do this every day, or most days when we go for a walk. We walk down to the creek. I take photographs down at the creek. But one of the things that we do is we make sure to say good morning to everybody who goes by us. Mm-hmm. We don't know if it brings any happiness into their eyes, but there are a lot of times, and we've all experienced this also, is you're walking along and somebody's walking the other way and they're looking down at their shoes. Mm-hmm. And you don't know if they're having a bad day or what. But if you say hi, it may bring a little bit of, oh, somebody cares about me into their life.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, that can make a difference in somebody. I remember, this is a personal story.
Sure.
I was younger, much younger, and I was walking down the street in Laguna Beach. And I was really mad at my brother, and I was scowling, and I was looking down, like you said. And somebody said, "Hey, you dropped something." And I looked at the ground, and I was like, "What?" He goes, "Your smile." And I remember. I have no idea what I was mad at my brother about. I have no idea what the circumstances, but I remember that because somebody looked at me and said, "This person's not in a good frame of mind, and let's see if I can cheer him up."
Changed your moment, didn't it?
It did, and I remembered it to this day. It was probably 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember it to this day.
That's what Thrive is all about. Is changing that moment.
Yeah, and those
helping.
and those touch points. Maybe you're not the person who needs Thrive, but that mentality of reaching out to others, and that, like you said, it's a service. You forget about maybe your things for right now, and you reach out to somebody else.
You did, right?
Right.
I mean, it changed the rest of your day.
Yeah, it hit me. It stuck with me all these years in terms of that.
Yeah.
So, like you said, choose these achievable goals. What are some of the things you've set out for yourself this year? Anything?
I don't set goals for myself anymore.
Okay.
I just personally do things. If I have something I want to do, I'll go do it, or I'll think hard about it, and when I have time, I'll get to it.
And that's a good point. Once you kind of get into that habit of doing things, then it just becomes something you're already doing. So I don't need to set A, B, C for myself because I'm already doing these things, and these are become my daily habits, right?
Yes, exactly. Like making the bed.
Right.
Growing up, I could care less. Your mother yells at you, "Make your bed." Okay, fine, I got to go to school. Bye. But it's just a little something that you start to do. You clean up a little bit when you drop something and say, get it when I'm done with breakfast or whatever. It's just to do it now and get it over with and then move on. And that's the way I've rescheduled my life, especially since I retired, since I now have time and don't have to ride airplanes all the time.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things I've done, and it's silly, but last 10 years, I make my bed every morning. I didn't used to care, but I got to tell you, it's nice to walk into my room, and I think it builds upon things. Like you say, you do a little something, it's like, okay, let's get other little things done.
Agreed. And also, this is a personal thing, but since Carol and I have been together, this is our 7th year, I make the bed and she's a little happier. So it makes for a nicer evening.
Right, it sets the tone, doesn't it? Right?
It does.
It's those little touch points that you can do in somebody else's life. And like we said before, when you're reaching out to a family member or a friend, those little things that you don't think they're that big a deal, but they can make a huge difference to someone who's in a bad place or in a bad frame of mind.
Completely agree with you, Michael. Completely agree with you. And again, that takes us back to Thrive, and that's what Thrive is helping, hopefully, some people to do. It's the thought process, and then the doing. You got to get it in here before it happens here. And if we can help people just have one smile during the course of the day, or make one bed during the course of the day, then we've achieved our goals.
There we go. Mark Rabinovich, Thrive advocate, prolific photographer, and touchpoint person of the village. Thank you for coming in today and sharing that.
Thanks
and
for
we look
having
forward
us.
to the next ice cream social. We'll have you back when you guys get another one on the schedule.
We're so happy to work with Memorial Care. You have no idea. They're a terrific group of people.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Michael.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.